The IRS has recently announced pushing back the $600 threshold requirement for those of us who are selling online. And I want to talk to you about that on the other side and what it means to resellers. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flipping Ain't Easy. And as I mentioned on the other side, IRS has come out and said they were going to push back the 1099K reporting requirements from eBay, Poshmark, Etsy, Mercari, and other apps like Venmo and that type of thing until 2023. So we won't be seeing those until 2024 when you do your taxes for 2023. Now, as reported last year, there's really nothing changed with what's going to potentially happen. Basically, it means that anything that you've sold in 2022, regardless if it was for personal stuff that you just had sitting around in the house, or if you're actually selling it to make money, well, if you didn't sell at least 200 transactions and, it's not an or, it's an and, $20,000 in sales, which includes the price of the item, the shipping, and the taxes collected, okay? If that is 200 transactions and over $20,000, then if you haven't hit both of those things, then you should not expect to receive a 1099K by the end of January when they upload those to your account. Now, let me just say this. If you live in a state, now I don't have the list of states, you need to check that on your own, but if you live in a state that has lower reporting threshold requirements to receive a 1099K, that in itself overrides everything, and expect to receive a 1099K if you've exceeded those thresholds, okay? So this is just a federal thing. So on a federal level, what kicks in to give you a 1099K from eBay and all those sites? Because last year we were talking about this, there are people that said, hey, I didn't do $200 or $20,000 in sales and I still got a 1099K. Well, that would explain it, because you live in a state that has lower reporting thresholds. Now, said this on the videos before, so I'll kind of reiterate it again. Regardless of if you're selling it now in 2022, the last week that we have left, right? Or if you're into 2023, maybe you're watching this video and it's already next year. Well, Happy New Year to you. Well, if you're selling stuff that you've sat on for who knows how long, and you're just selling it just to get rid of it, like a yard sale, but you're doing it on eBay or Mercari or whatever site you're doing it on, well, chances are you're going to sell that for lower than the actual purchase price that you paid for it. And when that happens, you don't have to pay any taxes on it, guys. And I'm not a CPA. First of all, let me just tell you, I'm not a CPA. Go and consult a CPA just to double check what I'm telling you, because I'm just here to entertain you and give you what I'm doing and what I understand. Okay, but if you bought, let's say, that sewing machine or that lawnmower 5 years ago and you're just not using it anymore, you bought it for $200 and you're now selling it for $150, well, guess what? There's no taxability on that, okay? Personal goods with no intention of resale, okay? That's the key. If you're just buying it for yourself and turns out that you don't want it anymore or don't need it anymore, and you're selling it and you're earning less than what you paid for it, well, you don't have to report taxes on that, okay? I think a lot of people are kind of up in arms, you know, hey, I want to clear a lot of stuff out of my garage, and you don't have any reportable income. Now, you may end up with a 1099K for 2023 if you go and sell stuff in your garage. And that's why it's a good idea. I mean, you're probably not going to deal with a ton of transactions if you're selling stuff out of your garage anyway. So you go in for every item you sold in 2023 and you just make a spreadsheet, and to the best of your recollection, because we're not always going to hold on to receipts from stuff we bought 5 or 10 years ago, if we're being honest with each other, and just put an approximate amount that you paid for that item, okay? And then of course show what you sold each item for. That way, if there's any question, you have it. When you file your taxes, of course you have a 1099-K that now eBay has submitted to the government because you've sold more than $600 in sales, but you can actually enter that into your Schedule C when you do your taxes. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do your taxes. That's a pain in the butt. Now, it's a logistical nightmare for the IRS to implement all this. They want the money. They have estimated that it's going to be $8.7 billion in additional revenue to get anyone who has sold more than $600 on any of these platforms to pay their taxes, okay? So anyone who sold $600 to $20,000 who hasn't been paying their taxes, the anticipation by the IRS is that it would generate an additional $8.7 billion per year in the tax coffers. Now, they're not just going to kick that amount of money to the curb unless maybe they weren't ready. And so my contention is, and I don't have any proof to back this up, but it just makes sense. They're hiring, 87,000, 78,000, or whatever the number is, new IRS employees. Well, obviously they haven't done that. And even the ones that they've hired so far, they're not going to be ready to take on the task of dealing with all these new additional 1099-Ks that are coming in and accounting for all that, right? So for me, it's time for the IRS. It's basically the IRS kicking the can down the road, giving themselves more time to be ready. So I wouldn't count on this happening again next year, saying, okay, we're going to wait another year. Be prepared that in 2023, anything you sell is going to be over $600 is going to be accounted for by way of 1099. Now, it's my experience that anytime the government receives a 1099-K or NEC or MIS or miscellaneous, any 1099 that the government receives is accounted for. So they're expecting you to report that on your tax return. And if you receive a 1099 and weren't expecting to receive a 1099, well, you need to err on the side of caution and make sure that you speak to that 1099 in your taxes. Now, of course, it goes unsaid, guys, and I'm not here to tell you what to do. Your life is your life. Your business is your business. How you conduct yourself to the IRS is totally up to you. But I'm only here to tell you that really us resellers that are selling for profit, regardless of how much you made, really need to be reporting it. Because the last thing you want, and let's just be real about this, the last thing you want is to have some kind of audit for something else come up, and then they're asking you questions as to, well, what's this income? Why are you getting payments from eBay, right? And if you are getting payments from eBay, why didn't you report that on your taxes? So just, hey, this is sort of a message, just a friendly message to all resellers. Do the right thing for your own situation, and just be mindful of that. So I guess some are going to think, hey, I got a reprieve, and it is what it is. I'm going to handle my business the same way I always have. I'm over 200 transactions and over $20,000 in sales anyway for the year. So it is what it is. So, but yeah, guys, just know what this law is and how it impacts you. I think a lot of people who sold in 2022 or still selling in 2022, or maybe those who even quit in 2022, maybe weren't prepared, maybe didn't really do a good job of withholding the money as they went, the taxes, maybe collecting 20-25%, whatever it is, as you go, putting it aside like in a checking, putting it from your checking to your savings, that kind of thing. Also, eBay is going to ask you for your social security number, whether you've sold over $600 or not. I think, like for instance, like Poshmark, once you hit, they didn't have my social security number this year, even though I reported it all along. At some point, they said, we can't allow you to accept the money for this particular transaction because it'll put you over $600 in sales for the year. So we need your social. So of course, you put the social in, and then they send the payment through. But it's something that all sites need. Now, I know a lot of you are concerned about, identity theft and stuff like that. Guys, I haven't heard of a single instance. I mean, there might be, but I haven't heard of a single instance where someone's basically their life has been ruined because somehow the social security number they gave eBay is now in the hands of someone who had bad intentions. From my understanding, it's been very secure. I haven't had any issues, and I haven't heard of anyone else that are having issues. You just got to do it. If you want to sell on these platforms, you have to abide. We talk about eBay Sandbox, and you have to abide by what eBay tells you to do. Otherwise, you just can't sell on their platform. So I want to know what you guys think. Comment down below. But the thing is, guys, the thing is this. This is not a video telling you how I feel about this, because here's the thing. I can't control it. Neither can you. We should only really be focusing on the things that we can control. Now, if this means you're telling yourself, hey, you know what? I'm done with reselling in 2023. I don't want to be bothered with this nonsense. It's just too much of a headache. I totally get it. And there's going to be many sellers that benefit from the people who leave the platform. And I'm sure there's many sellers that are happy about that. I am here to try to help people out and succeed if you choose to stay and sell on the platform. So, please don't shoot the messenger. I'm only here to report what I understand and what I've seen. And maybe there's aspects of this that I haven't covered, and that's fine. Comment down below. But I want to hear from you and your thoughts on this issue. So do me a favor. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Of course, it'd be great if you'd subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. But you know what? Just know this, guys. There's a way to handle your business, and sometimes we think it's a free ride, we don't have to worry about it, but just know that the IRS is always watching, and while they may not have the 1099 this year, it's going to happen next year. So you guys gotta be ready and be prepared, and make sure you're withholding the money for taxes as you go along, so it just doesn't sting as bad as like waiting till the end of the year and then paying your taxes at that point, which is kind of what you don't want to do. So guys, paying your taxes, death and taxes, yet another sign of how sometimes flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent rest of your day, and we will talk to you very soon.